1,500 people, so that we have now 1,500 guardians of the lake, and they have been giving to the schools 35 of these backpacks, but actually with selling as well, they come up to 50 that they've been given out. And I think very interesting is that it is developed as well an app, so people actually can just use their cell phone and communicate their research, and this goes directly then to the Ministry of Environment. So another important goal that they were able to meet is that they now have a plan for the lake Vijarica to re-establish and to be able to, well, he said it will take probably 15 to 20 years so that the lake is going to be clean again, but well, we hope that's going to be further.
Thank you.
Just questions. Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the great presentation. And again, I can't believe the skills you've got of just translating this, because it's not like you work together. And just thank you so much. So any questions for this great presentation from Chile? Is there any questions? Yeah, we've got one right there.
Muchas gracias por la presentación. Tengo un poco la voz ronca, disculpen. Quisiera consultar, los indicadores del monitoreo se han establecido junto con la autoridad, con el ministerio, ¿no? Con quien se comparten los datos. Por un lado es la pregunta si tienen una base, digamos, articulada respecto a qué tipo de indicadores se monitorean junto con la autoridad. Y lo otro, para que si se han pensado en establecer o se ha establecido una línea base sobre la que pueda iniciarse todo ese monitoreo. Y otra más, la tercera, si han considerado, por lo que veo, son sobre todo indicadores de calidad de agua y, bueno, vinculado a calidad de agua, y no sé si indicadores de biodiversidad como aves o fauna habrían considerado en el proceso o han considerado involucrar en el proceso. Muchas gracias, igual felicitaciones, me parece una iniciativa muy innovadora. Gracias.
Ya, muchas gracias. ¿Sí? ¿Contesto o no? Vale. ¿Cuánto tiempo tengo, David? Vale. Ya. Bueno, en Chile, como no ocupamos normas internacionales, lo que hay que hacer es norma por cada lago, porque cada lago es distinto. ¿Okay? En Chile tenemos 15.000 lagos y lagunas, como dije anteriormente, pero solo 2 lagos tienen normas, que gracias a nuestro trabajo la tienen, que es el Villarrica y el Yanquihue. ¿Okay? ¿Qué normas se fijaron? De, por ejemplo, transparencia. Porque son normas para proteger los lagos de la eutrofización. En eso se centran. ¿Okay? Por lo tanto, se fija una transparencia. Por ejemplo, en el Villarrica, en su zona central o pelágica, son 9 metros de transparencia. O sea, si usted tiene 8 metros, el lago está contaminado, saturado. ¿Okay? Si tiene 10 metros, está bien. Así de simple. Lo mismo con el nitrógeno, el fósforo, la clorofila o el oxígeno. Por ahí, ¿eh? En Chile aún no hay normas para biodiversidad, ¿no? como en el caso de Europa o los Estados Unidos. Entonces, cuando hay normas, trabajamos con las normas del Estado, y las que nosotros proponemos. Cuando no hay normas, lo que hacemos es, con la comunidad, concordar normas. Porque si el lago tiene 20 metros de transparencia hoy día, queda en eso. ¿Okay? Y eso es lo que nosotros salvaguardamos. En biodiversidad, la mochila limnológica monitorea 3 parámetros de biodiversidad: avifauna, macroinvertebrados bentónicos o insectos fase acuática y plantas acuáticas. Y la última, pero David, ya. Excuse me, David.
See. So the question was about how they establish norms, whether they establish the norms together with the government, and the other question was related whether they have norms or indicators on biodiversity. So Victor tells us that thanks to their work, now 2 lakes have actually norms, and the norms are quite simple. They work, for example, with transparency of the water. So if it's 9 meters, if you can see 9 meters, then it's great. If it's less, then, well, you have an indicator that something is going wrong. They try to work with very simple indicators. And with regards to biodiversity, there are no norms in Chile. So what they try to do is they establish, whenever they go to a lake, they establish norms together with the communities. So there was with regards to the question of the biodiversity, he mentioned that they usually have 3 norms or indicators. One is fauna and avifauna in English? Avifauna, yeah. Birds and yeah. And then certain kinds of insects and then water plants.
So I'm told I can take one more question. You're lucky. Answer fast, though. A quick one. So is there another question? Yes, Anja.
So I just want to know that all the monitoring that you are taking, you have sent it to the ministry. So any policy changes that they are making, have you observed, or any such examples you can give? Because there are a lot of institutions, scientific, we are publishing a lot of journals, data, water quality, but the transformation that is needed on the basis of the monitoring data, can you give, what is your experience on that?
Bonnie, la pregunta es, tú mencionaste que mandan mucho de los datos a los ministerios y si has visto algún cambio con respecto a las políticas y qué transformación ha sido o si ha sido alguna.
Sí, bueno, nosotros trabajamos con los políticos. Invitamos a los senadores y diputados a monitorear con nosotros y así logramos influir en las políticas públicas. En el caso del lago Villarrica hemos logrado que sea el primer lago en Chile que tenga un plan de descontaminación que está por aplicarse, está hoy día en consulta indígena. Eso es un gran avance. Lo segundo que hemos logrado, que los 20 lagos más importantes de Chile se elabore una norma de calidad de las aguas. ¿Por qué es tan importante esta norma? Porque es como una carretera que no tiene límite de velocidad. O sea, usted puede medir, ¿cierto?, con una pistola la velocidad. O sea, si no tiene un límite por ley, no, es un dato nomás. Es un dato. Pero si usted tiene una norma que dice que hay un límite, entonces usted declara un lago saturado y elabora un plan de descontaminación. Y eso se está logrando para 20 lagos, gracias al trabajo de vigilantes del lago.
So thanks to the work of Guardians of the Lake, they were able to establish this plan for the Lake Villarrica so that they will be able to restore it. And they do this because they are inviting as well politicians to participate in the lake monitoring. So they invite the senators, they invite local politicians to take part in their activities. So apart from that, Villarrica now has a plan for restoration. They have 20 more lakes that now have norms, which they work now. So that's like what they could reach in these 18 years.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I know you're not feeling so well, so this is great. And thank you. We'd like you to go back there. Thank you. And thanks to all of you for being so patient and being there and active and participating with all of us here. Thank you. So the next speaker will be Alejandro Juarez from the Institute of Corazón de la Tierra de Mexico. And I'm sure this is going to be very interactive, and he certainly does not need to be translated. His topic will be about a successful tool to facilitate participatory monitoring of wetlands, and they call it the ILMBM fact sheet. So, thank you.
Thank you. Buenas tardes, mucho gusto. Voy a saludar ahora en español, voy a hacer la presentación en inglés y Nada más corroborando, do we have the Spanish translation? Is it working? Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Muchas gracias a todos por su participación, su asistencia, gracias a los organizadores, en particular a mi amigo Juan Ocola Salazar de ALT, muchas gracias por la invitación, y a la gente del GNF y las instituciones financiadoras. So, thank you very much for being here. I am Alejandro Juárez, I come from Mexico, the Institute Corazón de la Tierra, and thank you very much for your attention today. So, okay, slow. Okay, thank you. Do you hear one extra minute? So, the project is called Latin American ILBM Lake Briefs. It was prepared or coordinated by myself, Eduardo, and some other friends from Mexico, mostly. But there is an interesting involvement of the Living Lakes Latin America Network. So these three institutions, Remexco, it's in Mexico, the Scientific Committee of ILEC, the International Lake Environmental Committee Foundation, and Corazón de la Tierra coordinated this effort. Basically, this is an effort which takes into account a platform which is called Integrated Lake Basin Management Platform, or ILBM. What is this? Basically, it's a conceptual structure focused on improving the lake basin governance. It is integrative and it's gradual, and it's also continuous. It's a process, basically, and the final goal of it is the improvement of the lake basin. It's based in 6 axes or pillars of governance. Basically, they are information, participation, institutions, policies, technology, and funding. And if you want to know more about this, I highly recommend it. Please go and visit this webpage, which is shown on the screen right now. And it's particularly this lake brief. The lake brief is a tool. It's a tool for preparing the ILBM. It could be considered the first step into developing ILBM process. Basically, it's a practical tool. It is a report, just like this one, yeah, which presents in a very concise way key information about the lake and the basin it forms part of. But it's different from other reports because it pays close attention to the governance challenges. It tries to identify what's going on, what's happening and why, and also to present a probable way to solve and improve it. The lake brief structure, basically it has 4 teams, and each one of these teams has several aspects, several components. The most extensive is the lake features and the current situation. It includes 9 aspects. The lake basin management, it has 5. Governance aspect, it's 5. And the annexes, it could be from 1 to 4. It depends of each case. Each case, as we will see soon, it's very different, but also they have very strong similarities. And the starting point for preparing ILBM Lake Brief is the impact stories. What's going on in the basin, what catches the attention of the stakeholders of the institutions in a way that everybody recognizes it as an important moment. It could be a positive thing or maybe a negative aspect. It could be a dam construction, it could be something related with pollution, or it could be maybe the declaration of a natural protected area, and so on. This is very important because recognizing what catches the public attention, the stakeholder attention, it allows us to understand the governance aspects. And from that starting point, then we can develop it. The goals, I don't go in that detail. It's in the presentation, so you could take a look later. But we basically wanted to know what was happening in the Latin American region. So what we did was to create an open call to invite people, institutions in several parts of Latin America to participate into this effort. It was composed of these aspects. And as part of the process, because many of the institutions, we applied a survey at the beginning, and they said clearly that they knew very few things about the ILBM platform, and most of them didn't know how to use the ILBM lake brief, it was necessary to provide some training. So we, as part of the process, we gave 5 consultative sessions starting in 2020 and finishing in 2021. And it was very exciting because of 23 starting interested institutions. We concluded with 15 lake briefs from 5 countries, and these countries basically are Guatemala with 2 cases, Colombia with 2 also, Argentina and Chile with 1 each one. And in the case of Mexico, we had 9 cases, including Lake Chapala, which is, by the way, the lake where Instituto Corazón de la Tierra is working mostly. So, as part of the lake briefs, it's possible, sorry, this is in Spanish, but it's possible to identify from the 19 problems that affect the lakes of the world, how many of these and which are present in each case. For Lake Chapala, from 19 problems, we have 14%. But not all of them are, not all of them have the same level of urgency, but it's very important to have a very simple table like this to show them to decision makers and the rest of the stakeholders. And as part of the document, we can see something like this. This image is very clear and very interesting because it shows the fisheries volume in Lake Chapala starting in 1995 and concluding in 2014. And this is, I don't want to go that deep into the situation of Lake Chapala, but what we see here is we have a very, very strong drop, dramatic, and is related with a crisis of water level that was happening in the lake. But when the water level recovered, the fisheries didn't recover the same way, which is indicating that there are some other aspects that are affecting the situation. And also, this graphic, what shows us is that we lack some information. Why? Because we don't have information from 2015 to nowadays. And this is only an example, and it's, you can find many of these as part of the lake briefs. And also, we are making public presentations directly with stakeholders, but specifically with decision makers and also with congressmen, in order for them to know what's going on in a very simple way. And to just give a very clear example, for the Lake Chapala case, we consulted 1,600 pages of documents, books, and scientific reports, and we conclude with this. It's 44 pages, it's very condensed, and it's very simple to understand, even for not technical people. And this is one of the examples of the presentations. We are taking here one of the problems, which is the encroachment. And we identified what is the causes, what is the effect, and we want to discuss what could be done to address each one of these particular problems. And this is, has been presented not only for each case. This process of presenting each case with the particular stakeholders of each basin is still ongoing, but also we present this as part of the World Lake Conference past year, and also we will present and publish both in Spanish and English, mostly by virtual ways, and you could consult them later when we conclude this process. So the lake briefs creation, construction for Latin America was important, but what's going on? What's the way ahead? Basically, we found that the 15 cases have common stress sources and very similar governance challenge. We found also strong similarities between each one of these. Being Latin American in many ways give us a lot of common cultural heritage and cultural aspects. There are a lot of communicative bases. We find also as the opportunities, one, to engage in common initiatives, and now we are able, knowing that we have similar problems, to approach several institutions to provide maybe an opportunity to address some of this problematic. The second one is the strengthening the training and experience exchange between the members and other institutions. And when I am talking of members, I'm talking of members of the Living Lakes Network. And finally, mainstreaming lakes' value and importance at the national, regional, and continental level. And basically that is it. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Yes. Totally impressed. So calm, huh? So composed in his presentation. So I'm looking for questions. There must be questions of this, and it can be in English and in Spanish, and Alejandro's going to handle both of them. So any questions? No questions. Oh, yes, Marion. So there.
Yeah, thank you, Alejandro. My question goes a little bit in the same way like a question before. The results of the monitoring, how they will be communicated to the decision makers, and what will you do that they will have an impact on future decision making?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And usually the good questions have bad answers. And probably this will be the case. The lake brief itself, it allows the preparers to have a very, very wide range of information in a very complete document. But it's important to mention where the lake brief also shows the gaps. And each one of the 15 cases, there are very strong gaps of information. An example, for the case of Lake Chapala. Supposedly, there will be necessary to have a bathymetry actualization each 2 years to, have a good base to take decisions. In the case of Lake Chapala, the bathymetry it's 42 years old, and there is a strong opposition of the government to update it, because basically it will show that the lake is not as deep as it was before. And basically, it will affect the way how the lake water is being distributed. So that's something that is showing up. And also, it's important to mention that the lake brief, it doesn't include any monitoring directly. We are not creating information. Basically, we are collecting the information, and also we are presenting it in order to know what's going on, but also to involve other institutions to monitor and to decide if it's possible and desirable to create some research to complement the information that is lacking. This document is available online, and we are preparing now the update for next year. We want to update it each 2 years, with the involvement of 3 local institutions, 3 universities, and also probably 1 institution from US. And the idea then we will have the opportunity to compare and to use the monitoring, but not for one aspect, but for several of them.
There's one more question that we can take, and it's Andrew there. So another one in English, and hope you're putting you're using the translation in this case. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it's 12 years ago that we had the Living Lakes Conference at Lake Chapala, which was an amazing conference, by the way, thank you. What I'm interested to know is, do you think that any progress has been made in those 12 years around improving the conservation of the lake, one? And then secondly, do you have confidence that in 10 years' time it will be further improved, or are you still quite negative about things?
Okay. Things have been improved in some ways, and some other are, stuck, and some other are not going well. And this is not the purpose of this presentation, but we conduct monitoring of governance in 2010 and 2020. And there is a slight governance improvement, not that small, it's like 140%. But our starting point was 3.5 in a scale from 0 to 10. So the improvement, now we are in close to 4.6, something like that. So it's good that the improvement was done, but still we have a lot to work ahead. I am confident that some things could be improved, because now we have much better tools, and also the networking that was very difficult in Lake Chapala, because there is a lot of conflictivity in the area. The creation of the intermunicipality of Lake Chapala, we have the director here, Gabriel, and it's important because now the 6 municipalities have the opportunity to work together, at least in some aspects. But not everything is rose and wine. And certainly, we need to work in the case of the NGOs to better develop a common platform. Very much everyone is trying to do something. Sometimes we collaborate, but we can continue that way. We strictly need to go ahead in that aspect. And I think very interesting, because in the 15 cases in the lake briefs, it's so similar. It's incredible. Basically, you could, in some of them, change the name of the lake, and basically you will have the same lake brief.
All right, so thank you. I think we're going to leave it to the next presenter. So thank you, Alejandro, for this great presentation. Thank you. Well, one thing I'm learning being in this top of the world place is we need resilience. And this last presentation is requiring us to be still alive. And I'm aware we've been here for a long time and many hours right now, and we're all ready to go for lunch. But we've got an amazing presentation coming here from Jaime Quispe, and he's from Agua Sostenible de Bolivia. And he will be supported by his colleague, Fabricio Clare, who will help him in the translation. And they will be presenting us a participatory monitoring program in Lake Titicaca. And they're sharing with us the experience of women united to defend Lake Titicaca. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this. Thank you.
No se puede.
Yes,
Ah.
yeah.
Bien, ya cerca de mediodía. Mi nombre es Jaime Quispe, de la organización no gubernamental Agua Sustentable. Con ustedes queremos compartir no solo en la temática de gestión integral y social del agua que vamos trabajando, sino también cómo en este proceso de los años hemos trabajado con las mujeres. En ese sentido, compartiremos a ustedes todo lo que corresponde en relación a género, ¿no? En ese sentido, las mujeres, específicamente en el lago Titicaca, en el lado Perú, en el lado Bolivia, van en su ruta de caminar, van conversando en lo que es problemas ambientales, cambio climático.
So we are going to start the presentation talking about how it starts, the leaderships. It actually starts walking and talking about environmental problems and climate change.
Bueno, y en ese sentido empiezan a contactarse con nosotros para ver cómo pueden ser fortalecidas sus capacidades en la temática del agua. Y en ese sentido nosotros hemos llevado a cabo diferentes talleres para fortalecer sus capacidades, y a partir de ahí ellas mismas se conformaron una red.
So the leaders ask us how we can help them. We start making some workshops with them and let them make the new web network. Sorry.
Entonces, adelante.
Okay, so these are the stages we started nearly 10 years ago with the women of the Lake Titicaca. We start workshops, as I told you, about environmental and climate change. Then we start another workshops in integral and social management of water sources. We confirm the network with the women. We start another workshop for empowerment and leadership for the women. Then we contact the main authorities from Bolivia and Peru. Then we start actually the monitoring campaigns for water and water quality. Then we start another campaign for cleaning the Lake Titicaca. We stop them with another workshop of circular economy, and end everything with the environmental agenda. These are some of the workshops we have been working on. These are the environmental, okay, we're gonna go a little bit faster. So these are the workshops we have, and all I told you. These are photos from the lights from Bolivia, and the other assets from Peru. So we're working in both countries. There's some workshop about leadership, empowerment, and gender. We have taught in Bolivia and Peru too. This is the economy, the circular economy, and the environmental agenda in the municipalities, in both municipalities. This is something about climate change.
Sí, y bueno, de todas estas fortalecimiento de capacidades, uno en cambio climático, bueno, expresan las mujeres que hay que valorar los conocimientos locales conectados con lo que es la parte científica, mejorar su resiliencia y que tienen que adaptarse.
So when we finished the workshops, the leaders told us that we need to revalue our old knowledge and mix it with new technologies, improve our resilience, and we need to adapt to the climate change right now.
Y en relación a contaminación del lago Titicaca, expresan que se tiene que trabajar fuertemente en sensibilizar a las niñas, a los niños, jóvenes y bueno, a los otros actores, y por otra parte hacer un buen manejo de los residuos sólidos.
So in Lake Titicaca pollution area, they decide to make some awareness for the local people, especially kids, for making them understand the importance of our lake, and they have to work in the good manage of the water pollution and waste.
Y bueno, aún en las orillas del lago Titicaca hay fuentes de agua, arroyos, ríos y lagos a los cuales identifican es importante conservarlos, protegerlos y cuidarlos.
So for our water supplies, streams, lakes, and rivers, they decide they have to take care better of them because it's too polluted.
Y respecto al monitoreo participativo y campañas de limpieza, consideran que se debe seguir promoviendo con diferentes actores para seguir llevando estas actividades.
So they decide to continue the monitoring, the participatory monitoring in all the communities and the cleaning campaigns. 5 minutos, Jaime. So these are another actions they started.
Como un inicio se elaboró una guía para que puedan aplicar las lideresas, pero también otros actores, en las que se ha ido avanzando y está en proceso ahora de poder procesar esa información que ha ido obteniendo, y también se desarrolló una aplicación que se llama Suma Uma. Y bueno, como ustedes ven en la fotografía, van continuando haciendo monitoreos una vez al año.
So we make this guide with the help of the leaders to make every single community work in the same way. And nowadays they're still making this participatory monitoring.
También haciendo campañas de limpieza.
Making cleaning campaigns.
Y se hizo un taller binacional para poder elaborar una agenda ambiental para el lado Bolivia, para el lado Perú.
We make 2 binational meetings for making an environmental agendas in both sides.
Como se muestran los pasos que se siguieron.
These are the steps we follow.
Y ahí hay una muestra de cómo todos los actores en participación con los gobiernos o con los alcaldes, concejales, se llegó a un acuerdo en el lado Bolivia, en el lado Perú, y el desafío es poder ahora las lideresas contribuir a la implementación de estos 12 compromisos.
This is an arrangement we made with both leaderships from Bolivia and Peru, and now we are trying to make these 12 points working.
Ahí se tienen los principales puntos. Uno es que quieren trabajar hacia el sueño de tener el lago Titicaca conservado, concientizar, promover a las autoridades educativas, por ejemplo, para que puedan contribuir en esta, y finalmente trabajar, acompañar a las autoridades municipales.
So like their main dream is having a healthy Lake Titicaca. The other is working with people to teach them the importance of the Lake Titicaca. Another one is help implement new education in the schools.
Sí, las lideresas, todas las acciones han ido llevando, difundiendo a través de medios de comunicación que ustedes ven. Tienen una página Facebook y otras redes y otros medios de comunicación.
So the leaders start this new web page, and they got all the social media, and they are in the radios and the TV too.
Publicaciones, como ven en la fotografía o en la diapositiva. También se llevaron a cabo webinars en la temática de hablemos con las lideresas sobre el lago Titicaca y el medio ambiente. Después también se conectan con otras iniciativas o con otras acciones como, por ejemplo, participaron activamente en las mesas de trabajo en la cumbre de Cotamama que ha sido promovido desde la vicepresidencia del Estado Plurinacional de Bolivia. Y por otra parte también 3 nadadores cruzaron desde el lago, desde Copacabana hasta Puno para mostrar que el lago Titicaca está libre. Bueno, es posible todavía, está en un buen nivel de agua. Y después, en este proceso, desde el 2013, se han ido trabajando en alianza con estas instituciones que se muestran en la fotografía, los financiadores que han participado, apoyando hasta mediados del presente año. Y bueno, ¿qué es lo que viene adelante? Entonces yo, por favor.
So what comes next? The leaderships want to continue the activities, especially with the small kids and new leaders. They want to connect with another women networks for next projects. They want to make new projects with scientific, civil, and it was one more.
Sí. Bueno, finalmente entonces lo principal es que las líderes quieren seguir avanzando, después conectarse con otras instituciones, pero principalmente aprovechar las fortalezas que han sido capacitadas y poder participar en las tomas de decisiones.
So now the idea is they start working with everything we teach them, so they can be alone, and they have to work to get inside the decision-making group.
Bueno, las mujeres, y finalmente las mujeres ahora son protagonistas muy importantes en esta de la gestión integral y social del agua, y tienen muchas expectativas de seguir avanzando y también conectarse, y creo que este espacio como el día de hoy es para conectarse también con ustedes y poder avanzar. Gracias.
Thank you so much. I have to say, when I told Fabricio, I just met him yesterday, and I said, you know what, you're translating tomorrow. And he's like, no. And he did brilliantly. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Jaime, for the great presentation. So I will take a few questions. I think we have time for a few questions before we break officially. Is there any questions? Yes, we have one right there.
En español. Yo como puneña quiero aportar lo siguiente. En la época del incanato se pensaba en las 3 vidas, la vida superior, la vida terrestre y la vida inferior. En este triple tipo de vida había una concepción filosófica que decía: los muertos salen a través de los ríos y de los lagos. Y para esa época incaica, preinca, los ríos, los lagos, las fuentes de agua eran sagradas. Y no se podía escupir, echar aguas podridas, nada. Había un gran respeto al agua. Entonces, ese gran respeto a las fuentes de agua se ha perdido en todo el mundo. Entonces, esa sabiduría incaica fue muy grande y eso trajo mucho progreso. Y todos sabemos que, yo soy médica, que para desarrollar un buen cerebro se necesita pescado en las primeras etapas de la vida humana. De tal manera que si un niño consume pescado, tendrá una inteligencia superior. Y la gente del lago Titicaca, hay descubrimientos de que la capacidad mental de la masa encefálica era superior a muchos pueblos del mundo. Han hecho mediciones de la cantidad de neuronas, por un lado. Entonces, ha habido mucha sabiduría antes. Y también decir a todos los presentes que el 60% de la población de este altiplano está viviendo rodeando el lago Titicaca, de tal manera que el 40% está en la parte alta de esta altiplanicie que ustedes hoy en día conocen. Aparte de eso, les quiero decir a todos estos sabios, donde hay fuentes de agua, hay oro, hay minerales, hay plata. Entonces, en este momento nosotros tenemos una gran inversión minera de muchos países, tipo Inglaterra, tipo Canadá. Entonces, los señores están haciendo minas, tanto de la parte legal como ilegal, y esas aguas que no son tratadas están bajando al lago Titicaca por los grandes ríos, tipo Ramis, de tal manera que en su descenso por altitud está llegando al lago Titicaca, pero llenas de minerales. Sí, discúlpeme. Y esos minerales afectan la vida de los peces y también de los seres humanos. Eso quiero decir a todos estos sabios científicos reunidos acá. Yo soy puneña, hijo de madre puneña, y mis abuelos vivieron en las riberas del lago. Eso es todo.
Gracias. Entonces, ¿quieres resumir la pregunta o hay una persona que puede traducir? Porque un comentario, ok, es un comentario, pero no hay una persona que quiere traducir, ¿sí? Okay.
So what she was telling is back days, the ancient Incas were really concerned about the water pollution. They would respect a lot of the water. So she is reminding us we actually worldwide forget this respect for the water, and we have to remember it and work with it in a really small way.
That's how you, okay?
Yeah, I hope.
Would you like to add something? No? Thank you. Appreciate it. It's too bad we did not have translation. Any other questions? No? Oh, I have one more, but it needs to be a fast and I'm told yes. Yeah.
I'm very thankful that you mentioned about gender in the planning. I would like to know what exactly the strategies are you taking in order to have it gender inclusive?
She wants to know quiere saber qué estrategias de género estamos tomando. Estrategias de género para tomarlas a las lideresas. ¿Cómo estamos decidiendo las estrategias de género para las lideresas? He wants to know if it's like just institutional or like the whole leadership thing.
In the project design.
En el diseño del proyecto.
Ya está bien. Desde 2013 hemos ido trabajando con varios proyectos y en esas, bueno, lo principal era de cómo empoderar, pero principalmente la estrategia ha partido de fortalecer las capacidades a las lideresas en las diferentes temáticas, porque ese era el punto de partida, ¿no? Ellas sí podían, las dirigentes que se contactaron primero con nosotros, dijeron primero quieren fortalecer sus capacidades en temáticas, como decía, de cambio climático y otros, y a partir de ahí empezar a compartir sus experiencias, a difundir a otros, y ese era un punto de partida. La segunda, cómo empezar a usar los medios de comunicación, y luego cómo las mujeres no solamente participen, sino también puedan ser parte de toma de decisiones. Y ahí es donde, por ejemplo, algunas del grupo de las mujeres han llegado a ser concejales, alcaldesas, ¿no?
So from 2013, we were working on different projects, and the leaders actually talked with us, and they were asking for some help in this like specific sectors, and then we decided to work with them, and actually this started like because of that. So they were they talk between the women and ask for help first. So it was from them.
Yeah. So I really would like to encourage that more questions come during lunchtime if you have more details you'd like to know, but I really appreciate your time. Huh? For email. Also, we're invited to send questions by email. Do we have your email? Yes, we'll find it. Well, thank you very, very much for this presentation. And thank you very much to the speakers. Thank you to all of you for being so patient and so active and alive during this very long conference schedule we have. And unfortunately, we only give so much little time to our presenters. And I really feel that it's unfair because we work so hard to try to be prepared and give you all the best. And I know that I really appreciate all your time that you've put in doing your presentation and offering your knowledge and experience to us. So thank you very much. And I think we'll be having some good presents for you. And thank you for the people that translated this last minute. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hola, hola, ahora sí. Bueno, creo que, bueno, gracias a todos los expositores, excelentes presentaciones, felicitaciones a todos. Ya estamos a punto de terminar la primera jornada de la mañana, así es que tengo entendido que hay varios amigos que van a viajar, así es que quisiéramos aprovechar que dejen su firma como parte de este compromiso de Lagos Vivos, y aquí el día de ayer anunciamos a través de Marión que íbamos a firmar una declaración que creo que debe quedar plasmado lo que estamos discutiendo, lo que estamos planteando, y estamos convencidos de que esta declaración llegará a los más altos niveles en los gobiernos, porque ya es tiempo de actuar y que puedan revisar lo que está pasando en los lagos. Los lagos son fuentes de vida, son unión, integración entre países. Así es que yo voy a invitar a que antes que se vayan, los que se van a viajar ahora, vayan a la redundancia, puedan firmar. Yo quisiera darle la palabra a la doctora Marión, por favor, adelante.
Sí. First of all, I will shortly translate. We announced that we will prepare a declaration, a resolution of the conference, and we know that some of you will go after lunch, not be later there when there is the official part of the declaration in the program. So we would like also to have your support, which are going after lunch, and please stay little time with us to have a look to the resolution which we prepared, and if you agree, then we would be happy to have also your assignment. Okay? And the others which will stay with us during the afternoon, we will have, if you have a look to the program, we will present the declaration. It will be presented by Juan Jose, myself, and Udo. He prepared also an English version of the declaratoria, and then we can have all a look together, and hopefully we all sign this declaration. Okay? So please, the ones which will travel later on, stay 5 minutes with us and come here to the stage then to assignment. The others are very happy because they can have lunch now.
Okay, thank you very much, Marian. So those who might stay, all the others might go for lunch, the lucky ones. I would like to use the minute to close this session of the morning. And first of all, a great applause to Andrew Venter from South Africa and to Anne from Canada for moderating this morning in this very sympathetic and very good way. Un aplauso fuerte para Andrew y Anne para moderar la mañana. Luego también muchas gracias a las señoras tan hermosas para acompañarnos con agua y belleza. Thank you also very much for the beautiful girls who served us this morning with water and many other things. And para todos que han escuchado la traducción al castellano, al español, un aplauso fuerte a Julio, que estás haciendo la traducción desde hace 4 horas ahora. Muchas gracias, Julio, para tu apoyo a la conferencia. Okay, we're going to be back here at 2 o'clock roughly. We will be in the same restaurant, La Casona, as the other days. Yeah, but okay, so 2:15. Yeah, it's important because we don't want to be late for the conference dinner tonight. So 2:15, they're waiting for us. They're doing a great job in giving us food. Por favor, regresar a las 2:15 del restaurante. Estaremos en el mismo restaurante que los otros días, La Casona, y nos están esperando con la comida. Por favor, regresar en punto a las 2:15. No queremos estar tarde para la fiesta de la noche.
Entonces, por favor, todos los amigos que van a viajar ahora, después del almuerzo, les agradeceremos pasen a dejar su firma como señal del compromiso por seguir trabajando por los lagos y humedales del mundo. Muchas gracias. Aquí va a estar el papel donde pueden firmar. Gracias.